Pac-Attack, also known as Pac-Panic, is an action puzzler from Namco, based upon their 1992 game, Cosmo Gang the Puzzle. The first release came out on the Mega Drive and Super Nintendo. We're starting off with the Super Nintendo version. As you can see, Pac-Attack is a falling tile puzzle game, often being compared to games such as Tetris and Columns. The player drops down formations of blocks and ghosts onto vertical orientated playfields. The objective being to score as much points as possible before the pieces reach the top of the screen, pretty much like most games of this type. Blocks can be cleared by matching them in horizontal rows that touch both ends of the playfield. However, ghosts can only be cleared by placing down a Pac-Man piece, which will eat any ghosts in its path. The direction the Pac-Man is facing will show which direction he will move. Eating ghosts will cause a fairy meter located on the left of the screen to fill up. Once the meter is full, a fairy piece will appear that clears any ghosts on screen. Alongside the standard single player mode, there's a multiplayer mode and a puzzle mode, where the player is to clear out all ghosts in a preset level in a limited number of moves. This mode spans 100 levels, not an easy task to complete, but there is a password feature. So now we know about the game, but what about this Super Nintendo version? Well, it could be called the original even though it did come out the same time as the Mega Drive version. This version features some clear and crisp audio with some pretty cool tunes, quite a few of which are arrangements of various Pac-Man tracks. This also looks nice with its vibrant colours and nice backgrounds to the play area. I would have liked to have seen a little Pac-Man dancing around in the corner when combos are performed though. That would have been a nice touch. So here we go with the Mega Drive version, which actually sounds really nice. I was expecting this to sound like crap, but no. Some very good renditions of the Super Nintendo music is in here. It isn't better, nor is it worse. It's just different. Sadly, the color usage is pants. The play area looks fine, but the ghosts look cheap with that horrible dithered look. They didn't need to do that at all. Still, at least that doesn't affect the gameplay. We still have a fun game with all the same play mechanics and modes found in the Super Nintendo version. Next up we have a port to the Game Gear, and what a great port it is! What we essentially have is a mini version of the Mega Drive game. Same play modes, yep, that also means the 2-player mode is there as long as you have 2 games and 2 Game Gears and a link cable. Same music, which is even in stereo in parts, and same gameplay. Overall, a fantastic little port. Game Boy port is fine, however the lack of colour does hurt the appeal of this title. Normally it wouldn't matter, but when a puzzle game has been designed with colour in mind, it really does stand out when ported to the Game Boy. Not a bad playing port at all if you like playing solo, but not a patch on the versions we've seen so far. Pac-Attack can also be found on the Game Boy Color title Pac-Man Special Color Edition. This is basically just a colorized version of the original Game Boy release, nothing more. Now here's a surprise. Pac-Attack made its way onto the Philips CDI. Obviously I don't own a real CDI and never will, so I had to resort to emulation. Sadly I had a hell of a hard time getting this to run, and when I finally did, it had no sound. So yeah, not much to say really, besides what I did play seemed pretty good. And did you know that Pac-Attack was also on the PlayStation? Yep, it can be found on the Namco Anthology 2. There are two versions of Pac-Attack on this disc. The first is a port of the Mega Drive version, while the second, which I'm showing here, is the all-new version, and in typical 90s fashion, it has lost all the charm that the original had. It doesn't even play the same. The standard difficulty is way faster than the original version. The music in my opinion is also worse. Nope, I don't really like this updated take on the game. Give me the original any day. And let's take a look at all those versions of Pac-Attack running side by side.